Hi friends, welcome back to the Saffron box. I'm Yamini Sharma, and today in this video I'll be talking about the month of October 2022. What are the major transits, what are the major conjunctions which the planets are forming, and how does it affect all of us? So you can check out these forecasts from your ascendant, from your rising sign. That will be the best way to look at the forecast. And as usual, you'll find the timestamps in the comment section as well as in the description box. So I'll talk about the transits, the conjunctions first, and thereafter I'll go from Aries till Pisces, talking about all the signs. So if you look at the month of October 2022, this is anyways a month of festivities. You see the Shera coming up. Then thereafter we have Deepavali coming up. There are major festivals, and for all the Hindus especially, this month has a lot of significance. So time to get together, time to celebrate, lot of things happening around us. This month also sees a solar eclipse. So on the next day of Diwali, that is on the 25th of October, there's a solar eclipse happening through the sign of Libra. So we have Sun moving into the sign of Libra, and there's going to be a Sun Ketu conjunction happening, and thereafter there is going to be an eclipse in the sign of Libra. So I'll be covering that. In the forecast as well. So if you talk about the transits as such, if you begin with Sun will be moving into its sign of debilitation, that is Libra, in the middle of the month. So currently it's in Virgo, and it will be moving into the sign of Libra in mid-October, and it will stay there for about a month till mid-November. Now, why does this movement become important? Why does this transit become important? Because Sun will be joining Ketu. Ketu is anyways transiting through Libra, right? So Sun and Ketu form a conjunction there. Then we have Mercury. Mercury also moves into the sign of Libra on the 26th. So that's towards the end of the month. Then we have Venus moving into the sign of Libra, its own sign. So 19th of October that happens. And as you know, Rahu and Ketu act like their dispositors. Whenever Rahu and Ketu are conjoined with their dispositors, that is the sign in which they are transiting, if the sign Lord also joins up, they get extra emphasis, their energies get enhanced, so they are able to give the results of that particular house according to their own innate nature. The results get more pronounced. So Sun, Mercury, Venus and Ketu affecting the sign of Libra. And what is even more important, this particular conjunction is getting aspected by Saturn. So Saturn is in the sign of Capricorn. It becomes direct on the 23rd, and from there it is aspecting this particular conjunction also, and Libra also happens to be the sign of exaltation for Saturn. So there is a lot of emphasis on the sign of Libra this particular month, that is from mid-October onwards. So a lot of emphasis, a lot of focus here on the sign of Libra. And what does the sign of Libra represent? It represents all your partnerships, your legal dealings, your contracts, your marriage, right? Your relationships, your spouse. Libra is by default the 7th house as per the natural Kalpurush Kundali. So it represents all the things, all the significations of the 7th house by default, right? So I'll be covering the effects of this particular aspect as well as the conjunction in the forecast while I talk about the signs. But talking about the other planets, Mars, which is currently transiting through the sign of Taurus, is going to be coming into the sign of Gemini. So there's change of sign for Mars as well. Jupiter is carrying on in his journey in the sign of Pisces. It is retrograde in motion, and it is going to be retrograde throughout the month of October. Then we have Rahu in the sign of Aries, right? So these are the major planetary transits and the conjunctions. Now if we go about onto the signs. If I talk about the sign of Aries first, see, for Aries, you see, your Lagnesh, that is Mars, is changing signs. It is moving out of your second house, moving into the third house. Then your seventh house is also getting a lot of focus with the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Ketu conjunction. And Saturn in your 10th house is becoming direct, aspecting this conjunction as well. So what will happen? There'll be a lot of focus on relationships, a lot of focus on legal dealings, on contracts, on partnerships for you this particular month. You've got to be careful in your dealings as well. Sun Ketu conjunction happening, coming together. Ketu is a planet which shows detachment, which shows leaving, which shows giving away, right? But at the same point in time, it also depends on how Ketu is placed on your natal chart. What are the kind of dashas you are undergoing? But here, if we see the transits as such, then this particular month will focus a lot on your relationships, on your partnerships, agreements, etc. For some, it's going to be a very positive development, while for some, there could be major changes. So there could be major changes in the way you're dealing with people, in the way you're conducting your business as well. Remember, Saturn, which is the Lord of the 10th house, is also aspecting this conjunction. So the way you work, your profession, all these things get impacted. 7th house is the higher note of the 10th house as per the Bhavad Bhava. So your work is going to be a major focus area, your business is going to be a major focus area. You've also got to be a little careful while dealing with people. Do not sign anywhere, do not get into any agreements without doing a thorough check. I would say without doing a thorough legal check. So check everything properly and only then take any action. While work is the focus, while work contracts and work dealings are going to be the major area of focus, this month will also pay a lot of emphasis on your relationships, right? So your marriage, you're dealing with your spouse, you're dealing with your life partner, also has to be in check. For some, this could also be a month where a lot of changes are happening, right? So the way you're dealing with your spouse, something triggers some changes here. An eclipse is also happening in this axis, right? So it's affecting the sign of Libra. So the way you treat your partner, the way you are conducting yourself in the marriage, it's a time for you to undergo, have a check, introspect. Is your dealing all right? How are you taking care of your spouse? So pay a lot of focus on your marriage as well. I would especially pay focus there. So how are you conducting yourself? How are you managing your relationships is also a very important area to be taken care of this particular month. This month, since your Lagnesh is also changing signs, moving on to the third house, there is going to be a lot of focus on responsibilities, on the initiatives which you take. So if you see overall, this is adding up. Overall, when the third house is getting activated, the 7th and the 10th, so you've got to be ready for action, you've got to be ready for initiatives, channelize your energies in the right direction, use your time to introspect. When Sun Ketu conjunction are happening over there in your 7th house, and an eclipse is also casting an effect, I think this is a time to bring about major changes in your life concerning your work as well as your relationships. Then I move on to the next sign of Taurus. So for Taurus, you see your 5th house is pretty activated in the first half, and in your second half of the month, your 6th house gets particularly activated, especially with the Lagnesh also joining in this conjunction. So Venus is joining up this conjunction in the 6th house itself of Sun, Mercury and Ketu, right? So the 4 of them, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Ketu, are together in your 6th house. An eclipse is also going to happen on the 25th. Saturn is becoming direct in your ninth house. Saturn is a yoga karak planet for you as well. What does this say? This could be a time of new ideas kicking in, new ways of exercising your creativity. How do you put your plans into action? How do you put your plans into motion is what is important. Luck could help you out. Your mentors could help you out. You could get support from your father as well. Right? So seek support of your seniors, seek support of your guides, of your mentors, and go about your work in a new manner, in a creative manner. Put your new ideas into a proper, channelize them into a proper concrete form, and then go about with your work. Right? So for those who are working, who are employed, or who have their own venture, you're working independently in the field of art, in the field of entertainment, social media, etc. This is going to be an important month. So a lot of time, a lot of your energy goes into implementing your ideas, and you're able to put in that focus as well. You've got to be careful regarding your health. Venus in the 6th house is not a great position to have, especially when it's conjunct with so many planets, with the debilitated sun, with Ketu as well, right? So take care of your health, that is very important. Also, do not get into unnecessary arguments, into unnecessary disagreements, which could land you into some major troubles later. Something which is looking very small right now, but which cascades into a bigger fight later on. You've got to avoid that as well, right? As I said, the 6th house is getting activated, and of course when the 6th house is getting activated, the 6 and 12 axis, where Rahu is in the 12th house, is also getting impacted. So you've got to be careful in terms of your expenses also. Sudden expenditures can come up, expenditures on your health. So medical expenditures can also come up, medical expenses can go up. So take care of your health, that is very important. Also, for some of you, if you feel that your routine is not in order, you don't have a very healthy routine, I think by the end of the month there are going to be ample opportunities where there should be where the universe is going to tell you that you need to change yourself, you need to have a change of routine in terms of your health, etc. So daily routine changes in terms of your daily schedule are also indicated. Utilize this particular month's energy. The solar eclipse is also going to happen, which is also going to trigger in a lot of changes for you, right? So then I move on to the next sign of Gemini. So for Gemini, if you see, the first half is pretty active. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mercury is your Lagnesh. They are all conjunct in the 4th house. And thereafter, they move on into the 5th house, right? So the 4th house activities, with the exalted Lagnesh, that is Mercury. Anyways, the first half looks better. But as we move on to the second half, and keeping in mind the eclipse also which is going to happen, the second half is going to make you pay a lot of focus on your 5th house matters. So on your children, on your creative expression, on the way you're using your intelligence, right? So on the way you're managing your life around you. That is going to be a major focus area this particular month, right? So take care of how you're managing children, take care of how you are putting your thoughts into action, how you're utilizing your energies, how you're utilizing your intelligence is a very important part which you need to consider this month. This month also, Saturn is becoming direct. Saturn is currently in your 8th house and it is becoming direct now, and it's slowly going to move its focus, start gearing up for the entry into the 9th house. So a lot of things, a lot of obstacles which were there in terms of health, in terms of, sometimes we go through a lot of unforeseen obstacles. We call them accidents, right? So something which is happening accidentally, something which is happening all of a sudden, for which you have no control, right? So these kind of events which were troubling the Gemini natives for a very long time start ending up, start clearing up. This energy is going to clear up slowly and gradually by the end of the month, and you see some positive traction. So if you're facing some major health issue, you could see some recovery. If you were facing some major problems, long problems, long-term problems, chronic problems in terms of your work, etc., or your relationship with your marital family, with your in-laws, there could be some major resolutions which are coming your way by the end of the month. So a lot of your energies are getting sorted out. This month, you should also focus on, if you're a student, if you are pursuing education, if you're upgrading your skills, I think this is a very important month. Focus on upgradation of skills. Those of you who are spiritually inclined, religiously inclined, this could be a month where you find ample time and opportunity to indulge in your religious pursuits, in your spiritual pursuits. Especially with the solar eclipse happening, I think there is going to be a major shift in energy where you're able to pray to your Isht, where you're able to do some sadhana, sitting down properly, delve into some spiritual matters with a guru, with a teacher as well. So I see some good energies, when all these things are happening around your 5th house. It's a very important house. It's a higher note of the 9th house as well. So this triggers in a lot of changes for you in terms of your religious inclination, your spiritual inclination as well. So now I move on to the next sign of Cancer. So if you have a Cancer ascendant or a Cancer rising, this particular month, if you see the 4th and the 12th house, the 4th, 7th and 12th house are giving in a lot of, are getting a lot of importance. There's a lot of energy over here. Why? Because your 4th house is seeing the conjunction of Sun, Mercury, Venus as well as Ketu. The 7th house is seeing Saturn becoming direct, aspecting this particular conjunction. And for you, for the Cancer rising, Mars, which also happens to be your Yoga Karak planet, is moving out of the 11th house to the 12th house. So what is this particular, what does this movement with respect to your sign, with respect to your ascendant say? It says that there's going to be a lot of focus on matters pertaining to foreign elements, right? So something which indicates moving out of your current place, or dealing with foreign elements, dealing with something to do with exports, imports, or some of you might be connected with foreign MNCs. So a lot of dealings with 12th house matters, right? So traveling, moving out of home, those of you who are looking at immigration, etc., this could be an important month of some traction happening. So these kind of energies are playing up with regards to your 12th house. It could also cause a lot of disturbance in your sleep patterns, with Mars going into the 12th house, right? So Mars is going there, and that too in an unfriendly sign, an inimical sign of Gemini. So a disturbance is in sleep, some worry, or some issue keeping you awake at night, giving you sleepless nights. These kind of things can also play up. So you could be wasting a lot of energy in overthinking and overstressing about things as well. So that is something which I see majorly happening. This month could also see a lot of changes in relationships. The way you're dealing with your family, the way you're dealing with your circle, with circle of friends, circle of cousins, your interactions within the family could change. some major events could happen within the family as such, right? So especially in the second half of the month after the solar eclipse occurs, do also remember that for Cancer as well as Leo ascendants, whenever we are talking about your ascendant being moon or your ascendant lord being sun, whenever any eclipse happens, even though it's a partial eclipse, some major shifts of energy do occur. So your domestic front here gets impacted, your relationships get impacted. You need to get take care of your mother's health as well, or your relationship with your mother especially. So these domestic matters take up a lot of your time, take up a lot of your energy. Saturn is also aspecting this conjunction of Sun, Mercury, Venus, Ketu from the 7th house. Saturn is becoming direct as well. So here a lot of things related to your marriage and your family, your domestic happiness, marital happiness, things around your marriage or your life partner could also see some changes. So either you're moving out of your current space, there is a geographical distance, there's a physical distance which comes up, or in some cases there are some disagreements which are which are becoming major. Some minor fights turn into some big fights, or some major ideological differences are happening. These kind of things can also happen. There would be a shift here in the way you're dealing with your partner, in the way your environment at home turns out to be, right? So that is something which is going to be a major a focus area for the Cancer ascendant. And these issues for the Cancer ascendant people anyways are very important, because they are more focused on the family. They want to create balance in the family. They want to have that perfect harmony within the family. So this month, focus your energies towards your family matters, towards your property matters, towards your land matters, anything which is connected to your home, to your house. All these matters will come into the picture, and you've got to deal with them with a very level-headed approach, right? Then I move on to the next sign of Leo. So for Leo, you see, we have the Lagnesh, that is Sun, moving into its sign of debilitation in the 3rd house, where it gets conjunct with Mercury and Venus later on. Ketu is anyways there. So a lot of your focus will move from the matters of the 2nd house, that is the matters of your money, matters of your family, towards the 3rd house matters, towards things which could trigger in growth later on. Whenever the Lagnesh moves into the 3rd house, this could also be a time where you start planning your future, where you start planning as to what you're going to do in the future. You start making plans. You start pulling up your resources towards the future, right? So there could be something major you take initiative towards, and you're using your communication skills, you're using your surroundings, taking help from your environment, taking help of your family members, of people around you towards your initiative. So especially in the second half, a lot of you could see some major shifts. You could start making some major plans towards the future, right? So time to take up initiatives, time to shoulder more responsibilities as well during this particular transit, during this particular conjunction which is coming up. And also remember that the 6th house also sees Saturn. Saturn, which is retrograde now, will become direct by the end of the month. So the 3rd house energy and the 6th house energies are playing up a lot for you this particular month. So the efforts which you put in, the subconscious thoughts, the thinking, everything gets into concrete action, right? So make sure that your mental energy is channelized properly. Sun getting debilitated here though it's not a major event as such. Sun will come through the sign of Libra every year, right? But this particular conjunction with Ketu, with the other two planets, Mercury and Venus also happening, with the partial eclipse also happening over here, this puts a lot of focus here on the third house. So take care of your mental health. Do not get demotivated easily. Make your plans for the future. Discuss it with your family. Discuss it with your friends. Take support of people and be ready for more responsibilities. Saturn from the 6th, when it is aspecting this particular conjunction, will give you the ready, the required resources or the required energy also to go ahead with your plans. So a lot of you who are in the fields of communication, mass communication, entertainment, sports, media, education, writing, journalism, these kind of fields, or you're connected with the tourism industry, with the travel industry, will see a lot of new plans rolling out. You could make a base for new plans coming up, right? So important time, make use of it, and take care of your health as well. While these Upchaya Bhavas, the growth houses, are getting into a lot of limelight, are getting a lot of focus, whenever these houses get activated, you must also take care of your health. So any hormonal disorder, if you have, make sure that you're getting your medicines in time, you're getting your checkups done in time. Any kind of chronic issues you have related to digestion, acidity, etc., also you take care of. So take care of your stomach health, take care of your digestion as well as your overall health. That is very important for you this particular month. Then I move on to the next sign of Virgo. So for Virgo, you see, we see a Sun, Mercury and Venus, which are currently conjoined in your first house. They'll be leaving the first house, moving into the second. So the first half of the month anyways sees a lot of action, you in high spirits, your motivation remaining up and all that for the first half. But the second half of the month, when this particular conjunction, especially when Sun moves out, Mercury, Venus, Mercury, your Lagnesh, also moves out of its sign of exaltation into the next sign of Libra, and it gets conjunct with Ketu. It comes into that Rahu-Ketu axis. An eclipse is also coming up on the 25th. So there'll be a lot of focus on the family issues, on the savings as such, on your accumulated wealth. So make sure that while you are trying to fulfill your financial goals, you are moving towards your financial goals, you are not taking any knee-jerk decisions, you are not taking any impulsive decisions regarding money, regarding family money, regarding your accumulated wealth. So stay away from any impulsive purchases, I would say. This is a little difficult. This is easier said than done, especially with the festival season coming up, where there's a lot of luring in the market. There's a lot of luring for the consumers as such to spend. But I would say that you need to be a very sensible buyer, very sensible shopper this month, right? So take care of your finances, as I mentioned. Also within the family, you've got to be taking care of extended family, of your relationships within the family. So a lot of focus will happen over there. I would say that if you want to spend, there are expenditures indicated. If you want to spend, it is better to spend within the family on things which are very important. So even if it means spending within your extended family, right? Then there could also be a lot of changes, or a lot of positive developments for students, because your houses of higher education, the second house, the fifth house, are also getting activated with all these planets over here, with Saturn becoming direct in the fifth house itself. So a lot of clarity of thought, a lot of new plans in terms of education, you're pursuing your education, or developments regarding the courses which you are undertaking could also happen for, for whosoever it is qualifying. So if you're a student, if you're upgrading your skills, this could be a good time to upgrade your skills, to work on yourself, build up more skill sets, right? Add into your resources. And when I say adding into your resources, I mean adding into your knowledge, enhancing your knowledge, which actually affects what you have to offer, for your, as a future employee, or as a future person who would carry on some business. So you yourself, how you build up yourself, how you build up your skills is a very important part for you this particular month. Then I move on to the next sign of Libra. So for Libra, you see, we have a sun coming into the Lagna. Sun is your 11th lord, the lord of gains, the lord of wish fulfillment. And sun is coming into your Lagna, though it's a sign of debilitation. We also have Venus, the Lagnesh, coming to your first house. Mercury also comes in to your first house. Mercury is your Bhagyesh as well, owns the third house, owns the ninth house, sorry, and your 12th house as well. So a very important conjunction happening in your Lagna, and these three planets, Sun, Mercury and Venus, are getting conjunct with Ketu. Ketu is anyways transiting through your Lagna, through your first house. So a lot of energy, a lot of shifts, transformations is what I see for the Libra ascendant. There's an eclipse also happening, though it's a partial eclipse, but there's an eclipse also happening over this conjunction. Sun is in the sign of Libra, so here is where the solar eclipse also occurs. So this is a time to actually take control of whatever is happening around you, how you're reacting to situations, how you are as a personality. So time for introspection, time for focusing on yourself, for developing your own skills, for your own self-development, for changing perspectives wherever required. So there could be events happening throughout this month while this particular conjunction is in place, which triggers in a lot of changes. So the way you perceive things could change. The way you had planned to go ahead in future changes. So a lot of transformation is also in order for the Libra ascendant. This is a time to go ahead with any major decisions with the help of learned people, with the help of guides, mentors, people who are your well-wishers, rather than being reckless, rather than taking shortcut decisions, rather than taking decisions purely on some whims or fancies, right? So it is a time to be practical and go ahead with a very level-headed approach. Libra ascendant is anyways, always striving for balance. This is a month where your balance can shake. So you need help. You need help from people around you to keep things under check, to keep things in balance. Keep your relationships under balance. So this is a time where you could, see a lot of changes in terms of relationships. Those of you who are looking at getting married could also see some matches coming up, could see some alliances coming up. So these are all just, things which will develop. I'm not saying that marriage is going to occur. This is not a great time for getting married, etc. Right? Not a very great period, so to say. There are not too many muhurats also. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of tractions in terms of relationships. New relationships coming into limelight. Right? Then we have Saturn. Saturn is your Yoga Karak planet. Saturn is currently in your 4th house. It is becoming direct also. So a lot of things can start sorting themselves out. So this is a month, in short, I would say this is a month of transformation, changes. The way you think, the way you react is going to change towards your profession, towards things around you, towards any matters if you have related to land, related to property, if you are undertaking any sale purchase of land and property. So be ready, gear up for changes and go ahead with advice, with a lot of guidance. That is what is very important. The second half especially, you've got to be careful. Be careful regarding your health as well. So if you have any chronic issue like any endocrine problem, any hormonal problems also, you've got to be careful this entire month. So be in check, take your regular medical checkups, stay in touch with your doctor if you have any chronic problems, right? So look at prevention rather than cure later on. Jupiter, which is also a malefic planet for you, is currently transiting in your sixth house. So it is retrograde in motion also. So Jupiter's responsibility is to give you troubles. Jupiter's responsibility is to give you any health issues. And it is sitting very strong in your sixth house. So with this particular conjunction in your first house and Jupiter's state in the sixth, this could trigger in health issues. So that's why I'm saying take care of your health issues. That is very important for the Libra ascendant. Then I move on to the next sign of Scorpio. So if you have a Scorpio ascendant or if you have a Scorpio rising, this particular month you see Mars, which is your Lagnesh, Mars is moving out of your 7th house into your 8th house. We have major planetary conjunctions happening in your 11th house and then shifting to the 12th house, coming into the Rahu Ketu axis as well. So this month I would say, actually if you see this month, your Kendra is empty. Your Trik Bhavas are getting activated. Mars moving into the 8th, major conjunction happening in your 12th. So a lot of Dostana energy is getting activated this month. This is again a month to remain little careful, drive carefully, do not take any rash decisions, do not get into any unnecessary fights which can create enemies for you in the long run. Do not overspend. So I would say this is a month to lie a little low, keep a low profile and just carry on with your job. Do not make any major changes around your routine, around your work profile, etc. Time to carry on with whatever you're doing in a slow pace and on a low profile. So take care of your health, as I mentioned. Some of you who are entangled in any kind of a legal dispute could see some major developments also happening. So if you're in a dispute, if you're in a disagreement or a conflicting situation already, the second half of the month, especially the last week, could show you some major developments, right? So beware of your opposition, how they are behaving with you. Do not get into any dealings where something unethical is involved. Mars moving into the 8th house being your Lagnesh, and with all the Trik Bhava energies being so active, this could land you in some trouble. So stay away from any conflicting situation, from any scandal-like situation where some rumors can start about you, where people start gossiping about you. So handle things around you very carefully. That is very important. Keep your energies channelized properly. Saturn is becoming direct in your 3rd house, which is again a good position to have. So channelize your energies properly. Make your travel plans in advance. Make your work schedule in advance. Plan properly. That is very important. And keep your plans to yourself. Do not disclose it to many people. So believe in action rather than talking big about your big plans in the future. That is my advice for you for this particular month. Then I move on to the next sign of Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, you see there is this conjunction of Sun, Mercury, Venus in your 10th house, and from there it's going to be moving into your 11th house. Mars, which is again a yoga karak planet for you, owns the 5th house, owns a trinal house, is moving out of your 6th into the 7th house, aspecting your Lagna. Saturn is becoming direct in your 2nd house as well. So this month a lot of focus will happen on financial matters. lost money coming back, time for money to get recovered. Okay, so if you had money which is stuck somewhere, I think this is a time where you should start making efforts, or if you have been making efforts, money starts coming back to you. So if you have been, there was some bad debt kind of a situation happening where you thought that money is gone, now it's not going to come back. I think there could be some recovery happening. So this is a time for financial recovery. This is a time for a lot of changes in your social circle. So new friends coming in, new contacts coming in, chances of networking around, chances of meeting new people, and letting go of some old contacts also. So an eclipse is also happening, remember, on the 25th of October, the next day after Diwali, and it is affecting the sign of Libra, which is in your 11th house. So a lot of your social circle gets impacted. Old energy, old contacts could go, or there could be some changes in your relationships, new people coming, new social settings you could see. So time to utilize this particular energy, network well, network for your professional work, and make sure that you're focusing enough on your financial issues as well, with Saturn becoming direct. And Saturn is going to be here in the sign of Capricorn, in direct motion for about another 2+ months till it goes into the sign of Aquarius. So this is a time for consolidation also. Saturnian energy in your second house can actually help you in your financial consolidation. So especially now with this Mars energy also coming into the 7th house, make sure that you're not very impulsive, make sure that you're not very very blunt or very straightforward while dealing with your spouse, dealing with your life partner. So handle things with a lot of care. That is my advice to you, right? The sign of Libra, whenever it gets impacted, whenever so many things are happening around the sign of Libra, it is very important for us to take care of our relationships, take care of our marriage especially, right? Then I move on to the next sign of Capricorn. So for Capricorn, you see the Lagnesh Saturn is in the Lagna itself, and it is becoming direct. So that is a good sign. That is a sign of relief also for a lot of people who are facing any health issues or major setbacks as such, or if you were going through a downtime, so to say. So things start looking up. There are changes which are going to trigger in. Make use of this particular energy, Saturn becoming direct in your Lagna. Make use of this time to focus on yourself, develop your new skills, utilize your time well. Saturn is the karka of time. Saturn is the karka of karma. It's karm karak, right? So make sure that your actions are aligned to your future goals, and pick up things around you, consolidate, use your time well, use your resources which you have around efficiently. So that is very important for you this month. Focus a lot on your work related issues. Utilize this particular energy. Saturn is going to be aspecting the 10th house as well. So any pending things you had, any pending dealings, work projects which you have in the pipeline, start working on them, start finishing, start meeting your deadlines if you were lagging behind. That is an important thing for the Capricorn ascendant. Now, see, for you, a lot of energy is also there in your 10th house with the 4 planet conjunction with Sun, Mercury, Venus getting conjunct with Ketu in your 10th house. A solar eclipse is also on the way by the end of the month. So here I would say that you need to avoid any rash decisions regarding your work, regarding your profession, or in general. Even if you're not in any profession, even if you're not engaged in any full-time work, the way you work or the kind of karma you're generating, you need to be very watchful there. So that's why I said, while the Lagnesh is in the first house, it's becoming direct. Try to correct your actions, right? So whatever you are doing, try to be righteous about it. Try to follow the line of dharma. That is quite important for you. Release any old patterns, let go of any old patterns. And with the eclipse happening, it's going to help you do so as well. So by the end of the month, make sure that any old habits you have, any biases you have, any mental biases against people at work, let go of it. Bring in some, infuse some fresh energy. Start changing the perspective, start changing the way you look at things. So try to develop a positive mindset at work. And work is going to be a major focus area for you. Especially if you're in the entertainment industry, especially if you're in the field of public relations, media, if you're in a legal profession. So there are going to be major changes around your work. New contracts could come in. You could finish your old deadlines. So focus on that energy. Your 8th lord, that is Sun, is also here in this conjunction. So a lot of transformations are anyways going to occur. So be ready for those transformations. Channelize your resources towards work. That is important. Then I move on to the next sign of Aquarius. So for Aquarius, you see the Lagnesh Saturn is in the 12th house, and it is going to become direct by the end of the month. So that is something positive which is happening. Anyways, there's another about 2 to 3 months before Saturn enters the sign of Aquarius as well. There is a lot of energy in the 8th house. Sun, Mercury and Venus are conjunct over there. But very soon, by the second half of the month, all these planets, Sun and then Venus and thereafter Mercury, they are going to move into the 9th house and get conjunct with Ketu over there. Remember that Venus, which is your yoga karak, is also involved. Venus is coming into its own sign. Sun is coming into the sign of debilitation in your 9th house. So the way 9th house is all about your, the way you think, the way you follow your dharma. What is your dharma? And I'm not talking about religion alone. What is your definition of dharma? What is your line of thought? How do you deal with your teachers? How do you deal with your mentors? How do you base your knowledge? What is your, speciality? How do you look at your competencies, your skill sets? All these things come under the 9th house. What is your approach towards higher knowledge, towards higher wisdom? And practically, if we see, or on a day-to-day basis, if we see, also your approach towards higher education, your chances of higher education. So if you have a good dasha and happening, if you are undergoing a good mahadasha of a benefic planet also happening, which is supporting chances of higher education, I think there is going to be a major shift towards how you're going to approach your educational matters. So if it's qualifying for you, there's going to be a major energy shift about what you are learning, how you're upgrading yourselves. So if you're a student, if you're looking at traveling out for studies, etc., this month is going to bring some major opportunities, or it is going to begin, start making a base for the opportunities to come in the future. So concentrate on your educational matters, concentrate on your relationships with your guru, with your father, with your mentors. Look at a new approach. Look at if something was not working out, if you were not able to master something till now, look at a fresh approach. A fresh perspective can help you out. A lot of you will travel. There's travel plans could fructify for you. So a lot of your work, especially if you are connected with the travel industry, especially if you're connected with the communication or the entertainment, TV, media, journalism, etc., a lot of positive developments can happen for you. Then those of you who are in the fields of research, occult, mining, archaeology, these kind of things where a lot of research is involved, insurance, you could see a lot of positive development also happening, right? So a lot of planets coming together in your Bhagyastan, in the house of your Yoga Karak, with your Yoga Karak also involved. And if you have a good dasha, could trigger in a lot of positive events for you, right? So make your plans with a lot of help, with a lot of wise counsel, guidance, etc. And then go about things, right? This is also an important time to pay attention to your father's health, to your relationship with your father as well. So pay focus on all these issues, I would say, and utilize this time, right? Then I move on to the last sign of Pisces. So if you have a Pisces ascendant or a Pisces rising, you see you have Jupiter in the Lagna itself. Jupiter, your Lagnesh, is retrograde and it is transiting through your Lagna. Then we have a lot of this energy, Sun, Mercury, Venus conjunction in the seventh house, right? In the sign of Virgo. And as the month progresses, this energy shift is going to come into your 8th house. So the second half, the first half I would say is going the way it is going, but the second half is very important for you. A lot of energy transformation happening in the house of transformation. 8th house is the house of transformation, is the house of changes, suddenness. And 8th house, whatever it deals with, gives you long-term impact as well. So here, a lot of your focus is going to be on your health. Make sure that you pay enough attention to your health. With so many planets over here and the Rahu Ketu axis also affecting these planets, it is important that you take care of your health issues if you have any. If you are undergoing any minor health issues, you need to undergo proper checkups, get yourself diagnosed properly. If you are facing issues and you're not able to get any solution to it, so diagnosis is very important. Remember, Sun is the 6th lord, not a very favorable planet for you, and it is also coming into the 8th house. So some will say it's a Viprit Raj Yoga. That's okay. Viprit Raj Yoga can fructify later, but first it's going to give you some health issues. So your health is going to be the primary concern this entire month. You should focus on that, especially if you are undergoing any chronic issues regarding your reproductive organs or the lower half of the body, right? So that is to be focused on. Your relationship with your in-laws, if you're married, if that qualifies in your case, should also be handled with care. So there could be major changes over there. If you're going through a rough, patchy marriage, for some, this is going to bring about changes in your marriage as well. Libra is the sign of balance. Libra is the sign of relationships. And Sun, Mercury, Venus are getting conjunct with Ketu in the sign of Libra in your 8th house, in a Trik Bhava. So this is a challenging conjunction, I would say. So your health, your relationships, family matters, any land deals, any property matters, all these things, I would say avoid any major decisions while this conjunction is taking place. By the end of the month, anyway, some mental clarity will kick in. But avoid any major decisions. Do not take some decisions which you might regret later. So pen decisions, that is very important. Be very careful while dealing with money. So while you are investing anywhere, while you are dealing with your joint family finances also, you should be careful. But for those of you who have some inheritance matters pending, I think this is a time where a lot of development can happen for you. If you're undergoing some legal problems, if there was some legal case going on, some litigation was going on regarding any inheritance matters, inherited property, etc., ancestral property, etc., I think this is a month where some positive development can be seen, provided your dasha, your antardasha is also favorable, the promise is seen in your chart. That is of course the most important factor which you need to consider. But financial gains could also be seen. But this is not a time to be to be speculative towards or towards playing risky. So play safe with your finances, pay attention towards your health and towards your relationship with your extended family, towards your relationship with your spouse and their family, if that qualifies for you. This is going to be a good month for people in the occult, for people in the R&D, who are undergoing research, carrying out any research. You're working in mining, you're working in any kind of oil and gas sector, insurance sector. There is going to be positive traction for you, right? So that was all about the 12 signs for this month, for the month of October 2022. I'll see you very soon in my next video. Till then, do take care of yourselves. God bless you.